And we're going to be going through our hits for February for world events. And today's date is the 28th of February. And we're going to launch right into it and see what did the guys get. So, you guys keep on getting a bunch of hits here. There were just a couple that I couldn't find corroborating news stories for, but let's just get into it here. All right. So we had Daz with and Edward, you had something that kind of tied to this too, but you had special operations with the boats, and so there was a story about joint training exercises by Japanese and U.S. special forces in Okinawa, where they were using their boats and their land to sea um, techniques. So I wanted to put that down because it ties to what you were talking about, and it was in the news. And then Edward, you had something that was very similar where you were talking about aspiring exposed and you had an attack network linked to amnesty and something with the UK. And you said a threat to a royal. Well, this news story from The Guardian had UK special forces were blocking resettlement applications from the elite Afghan troops they worked with in Afghanistan. And this was a threat to the royal military because of some sort of suspected corruption. So you had the royal, you had the amnesty and the UK ties all relating. I'm not quite sure what the boat has to do. Maybe it has to do with the operations they were doing, but so many ties from what you reported were relevant to this story. So I wanted to put this in here. So we had Daz and Dick with very similar warnings. And note the sketch here that Dick has. So we've got the financial collapse of China's Evergrande property developer, and look at that sign on the wall. We've got going out of business. They're talking about an 85% chance of a recession. So there's all kinds of warning signs going off right now that tie to financials, just like you guys were reporting, and even a similar symbol to what you had sketched there. We had an attempted removal or assassinate. I can't talk. An assassination attempt. The thing that I thought that this most relevantly tied to was the potential assassination attempt on Tucker Carlson. And even some of our subscribers were commenting, and they were like, yeah, we think that this relates to the Tucker Carlson thing. He had gone to Russia to interview Putin, and apparently there was money exchanged and somebody trying to plant an explosive under his car, and they got held back and were not able to complete it. Thank goodness. But yeah, so that was a political and an attempted removal. So we had three viewers that seemed to be tying in with shootings, potentially false flag. I don't think that the military blue on blue thing has manifested quite yet, but this whole thing that Daz and Edward were talking about with a shootout, I think that this ties to the Joel Osteen megachurch shooting. So you guys can obviously read about that. It's all over the news. Here's two different stories, but very similar to what was reported in their session work. We had Derek and Nyiam talking about Trump up and Dems down, and of course, we have record turnout for Trump rallies, and I couldn't find anything on Joe Biden and the Democrats because the media doesn't want to report when they look bad. So this one is the stuff of nightmares, right? Potential mRNA vaccines in beef, pork, and poultry. And Edward, you had your person potentially with this disease X. You got the X's in the eyes. So the World Health Organization is trying to sound the alarm, saying that disease outbreak is a matter of when, not if, and they want us to pass their treaty. I think there's manipulation going on there, but we'll see. And then here's the story about is mRNA really in your pork chop? And I saw a bunch of people doing fact checking on this, which usually to me is an indicator that there may be something more to that. So I'm not quite sure there. We also had a story about scientists fearing 100% fatal zombie deer disease. So there's all kinds of different fear articles out there about different diseases with near 100% fatality right now. There was something about a China lab leak with 100% fatality, and there's people saying, "Oh no, that's not accurate," but there's a lot of stuff out there. So what you guys were reporting is accurate for what we were seeing in the news this last month. Expanded civil unrest. We had Derek and Dick both reporting different varieties of civil unrest and property damage. So here we have mass protests in London over the police priorities at risk, with MPs warning. You got the crowds there. We had farmers clashing with police in Brussels and across the EU over the agriculture stuff that's going on. And I think down in South America, there was another big fire as well, with cars getting burned up. It was very similar to what the Lahaina fire produced. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I think that was like Brazil or something, or no, Costa Rica, I think it was.
Yeah, it was somewhere in South America. I can't remember the country, but yeah, it was very troubling. Weather extremes. Last night we had a tornado that actually impacted the Air Force Base at here in Dayton, Ohio. And this is February. It's very unseasonable for this time of year to have a tornado. So yeah, we've got all kinds of craziness. Here's another story about the mudslides. 475 mudslides during a historic storm that impacted Southern California. And yeah, here's the story: tornadoes in February in the Great Lakes. Really? So yeah, we're seeing all kinds of stories that reflect what Dick was talking about here. Edward, you had your waterway collapse, and there was a dam collapse in Riga with 2 children that died. But I found another story that I thought was really interesting that may relate to what you saw as well. So you may have had a double meaning here, because you did call out a dam and there was a dam collapse, but another word for a waterway might be a bridge. And we had a barge run into a bridge, and look at part of that bridge collapse. And look at what you drew here, right? And then look at the bridge here. So I just found that really interesting, and I wanted to highlight it here for our subscribers. And look at the water coming off the bridge from the rain, and you've got your water coming out. So I just thought that was too crazy to not put up for people to consider. So yeah, nice viewing, Edward. Nyiam had this famous death. Alexi, I'm not going to pronounce that last name, but yeah, this guy was up in the news for his funeral, and that sketch is very,
that sketch looks just like him.
Yeah. That's a really nice likeness there, Nyiam. So good job. And then Dick, I think you got Toby Keith. You said rock star, but Toby Keith was beloved, and country close enough. Got the guitar just like he's holding there, just missing the cowboy hat. Yeah. So we're still waiting on the Jimmy Carter thing. You guys keep on having it come up, so it may be soon, but don't have feedback on that just yet. Dick, you had lightning in the sky, and you said damage, death. Well, 4 people were hit by lightning near Australia's Sydney Opera House. They didn't die. They did go to the hospital. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. You don't really see that in the news too often. So nice work there, Dick. Notable light in the sky from Edward. We had mysterious lights over Costa Rica attributed to a Chinese rocket debris. And you specifically said this is like a jungle area, like in the South America region. Costa Rica is in that region. So nice work there, Edward. You guys had your Bitcoin prediction saying that was choppy but doing better. And I think Bitcoin went crazy this month. So I think, what is it, like at 60 now? It's high. So yeah. So coastal crash or impact. We had a pilot killed when their plane crashed into the water near, was this in Alabama? So I think that's pretty close to what you were describing here, Daz. Seals and sea lions. So we had manatees, very, very similar to seals and sea lions, but 1,000 manatees piled together in a Florida park, setting a breathtaking record. I think it was 932 was the total, but yeah, they were in the news for setting a record. And I think, Daz, you said, yeah, tons of them, right? So nice work. And then I also wanted to put this up here because you were talking about Arctic, and these orcas were trapped in ice this month as well. Not as similar as seals and sea lions and manatees, but it's an Arctic type setting. So I wanted to put that out there as well because this was in the news this month as well. So the volcano, Daz, that you had, Iceland volcano erupted the second time this year, earlier this month. So that was a hit. We had the whistleblower news that Daz had come out, and the CIA fired a female whistleblower who was trying to bring up misconduct complaints. So there's all kinds of mystery and intrigue around this and drama. So there was whistleblower news this month. Derek, you said that there was signs in the news that the pressure's on for Haley to drop out, and she's saying not yet. So there may be some feedback coming for this next month here. There was drone activity in the news here. U.S. says it struck 5 targets in Yemen. Lots of stuff going on with Yemen right now. So that was relevant to what you reported. I know that you said that there was a reporter going on Iran, but it was like a hot mic type moment. I didn't count this as a hit, but I wanted to throw it up there for our subscribers just to see because it's close. It's so close. But Joy Reid was caught with a hot mic talking about another effing war. And so so much ties to what you're reporting here, Derek, but it just wasn't close enough that I would. It's like, okay, we'll not count that as a hit, but I want to show it to folks for consideration. A bad vehicle crash with a woman pinned. Well, a woman was pinned inside her vehicle in a rollover crash, and this is the United States, Grant Township. I'm not quite sure where that's at. I can't remember. But yeah. Commercial space travel continues. Yes, NASA is setting coverage for the first U.S. crewed commercial moon landing. So, sorry, uncrewed commercial moon landing. So there is definite advancements being done in commercial space travel. Building damaged. This was in the news because this Mother Bethel is a notable landmark. It's revered and it was vandalized, so it was kind of heartbreaking. And yes, they did even called out the broken windows, which you had on there. Graffiti, broken windows, and more. That's what happened. So nice work there, Dick. I know you said an altcoin is going to go crazy high this month. I think multiple did this month. I don't know if you ever settled on what this logo most closely tied to, but there was a bunch of them that went really high this month. So I'm sure folks that invested in altcoins probably made out, even if it wasn't the right one, they probably still did well. Mass grave investigation. Yes, the Palestinians did find a mass grave in Gaza and they're demanding an inquiry. So again, nice work, nice viewing there, Dick. This one cracked me up. I love these oddly specific ones. What in the world could a prince in a palace be all about? And there was a news story about Johnny Depp and having a bromance with a Saudi crown prince. And this was all about this, thing where they're hanging out together and, in the palace. So I just thought that was too crazy. And yeah, nice work there, Edward. And notice the coloring on Johnny Depp and the coloring in his sketch here. I just thought that was also funny. Smoking cargo ship. So there was actually 2. Oh, shoot. Edward, you sent me one. And I thought I put it in here, but oh, yeah, there it is. I'm sorry. It's right here. So we have, there was 2 stories. There was a cargo ship with a lithium ion battery fire and that they were scared it was going to do some serious damage. And that ship docked up in Alaska, I believe. And then there's also this ship out of the Gulf by Yemen that they thought might sink. So there are 2 big ship fires that relate to what you had here, Edward. So I wanted to put both stories up for folks to look at. Nyiam, how often are beheadings in the news? And you called it, man. We had that guy that cut off his dad's head. And yeah, that was just crazy. So nice viewing, Nyiam. We don't have feedback on the Ferris wheel safety event, but the weather's warming up, so this could be coming soon. March we might see something like this. So watch out, folks, if you go on a Ferris wheel. And then this unprofessional commotion in Congress. Didn't see anything about like a commotion where there was actual fighting, but those guys are unprofessional on a regular basis. So we'll see. And then this is an older one. Dick a while back had this Burning Man. I think we had some news that seemed to relate to it, but this one really, really relates. A U.S. Air Force member set fire to themselves, saying "Free Palestine," and yeah, that is just crazy. So there's the story. There's Dick's sketch. That's all I got for the hits.
I said on that it would be like a George Floyd moment, and they're making memes of him. It's really gotten a lot of attention. So the thing is, that was months ago. I think some of these predictions, we need to let them simmer for a while and keep watching them. Because as I always say, there's no 30-day limit in consciousness. There's no dividing line of when.
It's really difficult, especially like when we work these 10 days before the end of the month. It's perfectly reasonable that we could be picking up target data from literally 1 second into the future or 90 days into the future. It's very difficult to open a 30-day window and then adhere to that.